Hey family, welcome to my channel. It's been quite a while. Okay, let's talk about this. In marriages, I'm telling you, people fight. People fight in marriages. In marriages, like myself, I don't believe in a fight until there is this business guy who I subscribe to on Instagram, and he said, but he was talking about the business perspective. You see, he said that, people are invested in this thing, and when they fight, it shows that they are really serious about this. So I just took it into marriage and say, okay, we might have to fight here and there because both of us are invested in this. And if something is not going perfect, one may have to address it with the other, and vice versa. And that is where conflict begins, and it might end up in a fight, or sometimes you find that, oh, okay, if there is a fight, I want to beat them in the argument. No, I want to beat them in the. Then it becomes now competition and all that, which is not allowed. And there is also this thing which they say that no, couples fight. Couples fight. Hey, I don't know. It's like when you get into this marriage thing, you must expect fights, and. There is a way of solving conflict in a conflict situation. But now, what does the Bible say about this whole thing? Were there fights in in the marriages of the past? Where in the Bible days? Because uh, when you look at this thing, it's like Mudimo had to like give men muscles, and then the women he did not give them muscles for the reason that when we have a conflict, one must not beat the other, that they should come to the table and talk. If both of us had muscles, I am telling you, we were going to sort our differences, because now really muscles, but that is not allowed. You know what I mean? And I've looked at the Bible. You see, no, you see, let me show you that this is my Bible. I looked into this, like it came. Maybe let me say, I singled out um, two couples where we can learn from this, conflicts. And sometimes the Bible didn't go into detail, but you can see from a verse I'm going to read, the discussion or the debate was very intense, right? Let's look at Job. We all know Job. I mean, pastors and preachers have spoken about Job. We were taught about what Job went through. You know, the poor guy didn't know that there was a meeting about him, you see, and God and Satan talked about him, and what happened to him was as a result of that meeting, and he didn't know about it. It's like he was wealthy with a family, a big family with wife and children and enormous amount of wealth. And he was praying, But all of a sudden, he lost everything. Children died. All the wealth that he had just vanished. You will read it in the Bible. Now, after that, what happened was, now the Bible begins to talk about his reaction, the wife's reaction, the friend's reaction about this whole thing. And mind you, it was not this guy's fault. God was not judging him. He didn't know what was happening. You see, and in Job chapter 2 verse 9, let me read it. Then you will begin to understand that the discussion between Job and his wife was very intense. It was very much, there was a fight. Job 2 verse 9, it says, his wife said to him, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." Now let us analyze this. For that statement to have come up, there had been a huge intense, look at this. These people were rich and all of a sudden they became poor. And it was like the wife was looking at Job and said, "Job, hey, do something, man. You are a man of the house. Are we going to sit like this? Please, man, please do something." And Job didn't know first of all, he didn't know what was happening. He didn't know where this thing came from. He was just confronted with the situation. And then it was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what is happening. And the discussion or the argument went up and up and up to the point where the wife was saying, "Hey, Munna, are you still holding on to this God? Does God enjoy seeing us suffering like this? Oh, come on, man. No. If this is what it is, then you can just curse God and die for all I care." The thing was so intense for that sentence to be said, for that sentence to come out. Things were pretty intense. So, and these people were married. So, this is one of the fights I see in a marriage in the Bible days. And how did they resolve this? Look at the verse that come after that. So it looks like Job was saying, verse 10, "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Certain things can be allowed by God to happen to us. And we do not know what's going on, but we need to kind of trust in the Lord. Because look at what happened after this whole thing. Job was given a double portion. You see, God had already resolved to give him a double portion, but he had to go through something. Okay, let's leave it here. Let's go to another couple. Ish. Where is my Bible? Luke chapter 2. Luke chapter 2, from verse 1 to 7. If you can read that, you will understand that here is another couple. I'm talking about Joseph and Mary. Mary, the mother of Jesus. We all know that Mary became pregnant without conception, which means without her. It's like she was a virgin. And there was a reason for that. There was a reason for that. Don't tell me that it is not possible, because God is the creator of everything. He put things in place that sometimes we refer as nature. And he is the only one who can come in and interrupt the system to do what he wants, like out of the norm. You must bear that in mind, because God is not the respecter of persons. When he wants to do something, he may not even consult, he may not ask your permission. He will just go ahead and do it. Why? He is God. He is the creator of everything. Bear that in mind. You see, and the birth of Jesus came about in order for God to correct what the first Adam did. You see, the first Adam fell, but you see, the first Adam was not, he came into being because because God himself formed him. And he had the formula to corrupt the whole human race. Now, in order for God to correct it, he had to bring the same material, like the one who was not born by conception. Adam was not born by conception, and Jesus was not born by conception. And that's why it happened the way God has fashioned it. You must bear in mind. You see, now, we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the couple. Now, when you look at Luke chapter 2, let me bring this Bible. I showed you that I have the Bible. Luke chapter 2 from verse 1 to 7. It says, in those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. You see, verse 2, and everyone went to his town to register. You see, so Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and the line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. That means Mary was pregnant. And look at the like from Nazareth in Galilee to Judea. You can just imagine the distance from those areas. And Mary was pregnant. Because the thing is, after that, shortly after that, Mary gave birth. Which means she was highly pregnant at the time of the trip from. And I can imagine Mary was saying, Joseph, I'm highly pregnant. And now you want us to travel for this census thing. I am highly pregnant. How could you? Then Joseph said, no. I'll put you on my donkey, and then we will go together. You won't be walking. You will be on my donkey, and then we will be walking all the way to where we're supposed to do, because the Caesar of that time had wanted that a census should be taken. Now they went. Probably on the way, she was saying, Joseph, I'm highly pregnant. Huh? And I can't even begin to imagine the cravings and everything. Because that's pregnancy. It doesn't mean that if Mary is pregnant with Jesus, it was a simple it was a pregnancy the same as what we have today. Pregnancy didn't change. And I can imagine the fights that were taking place as they were going there. You see, and I believe Joseph told Mary that, no, listen, I'm going to find some kind of a hotel or an inn or something where I will put you in there, and then we will find something like a hospital where you can be able to give birth, comfortably. That may have been the deal. Now, when they got there, it was different, because, look at this verse. Look at this verse. It says, now, verse 7, while they were there, verse 6, while they were there, the time came for the baby to be born. And listen to this. And she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger. You see, now a manger is a place where they feed horses, where horses and donkeys would bring their mouths in there to feed, to eat. Which means they did not find a place. And she was pregnant. And a pregnant lady, if things are not going according to what she had desired, if things are not comfortable, the Third World War starts there. So they argued. There was a fight. Probably as the fight was going on, this guy was saying, hey, listen, please do not fight. I can see that your wife's pregnant, and all the places are full, because people came all the way from different places to come and do the census that the Caesar was requiring out of each and every one. So, because there is no accommodation, I have a place where I keep my horses. Probably the horses were not there, and the place was empty. So they accommodated them in there. And I can imagine Mary looked at Joseph and said, really? You took me all the way from where we were staying, while I was highly pregnant, and we walked all the way. And then when we get there, you said that we were going to find accommodation or some hotel or whatever. And now here we are in a stable. Come on, man. Really? And Joseph, I think he was like, yeah, you see, all the places are full, and you're highly pregnant, and I don't know what to do. So we've offered this place of horses, you know. It's like, come on, man, what kind of a man are you? How could you bring me to this place? Come on, man. I mean, just look at it. The lady was pregnant. And you see, we're not gonna know. You see, as men, we're not gonna know what women go through when they are pregnant. It is a gift of God that was given to women only. We will never know what emotions are coming upon them when they are carrying a baby. And as a result, we need to commend women, and we need to support them in this. You see, because we do not really know what's going on when they are pregnant. And sometimes they will yell at you. You see, so you look at this situation, and I believe that's what happened. You see, and it brings us to this thing of saying couples fight. You know, and it's like we are okay with it. I mean, like, when fight comes, we just welcome it and we fight and all. Ish. But however, these are the two couples that I have singled out to show that even in the Bible days, the fights were still intense like today. It's just that today, you know, people kill each other, you know, people do all sorts of things. But what does the Bible say in the event of disagreement, in the event of fighting? And you know, if you look at these verses, it almost like God knew that things like this would happen. Let me look at this verse. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7. Let's go there. Where is 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7? It says, husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as the weaker partner, and as with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. You see, sometimes certain prayers are not answered because of this verse, because we are not satisfying the requirements of this verse. It says, husbands, be considerate, be mindful that women are weak. We all know that you know, during the fights, men's reason depends on logic. Women's reasons depends on feelings. I mean, if X is equals to Y and Y is equals to Z, that means X is equals to Z. But with women, if X is equals to Y and Y is equals to Z, X may not necessarily be equals to Z. That's how they are, you see. And we as men, we need to be pillars You know what's a pillar? A pillar is something that is very hard. Maybe that's why we have muscles. That is very hard and will stand irrespective of the outside influence. You know, sometimes a woman in their weakness, they can say some stuff. You see, they can say things that you as a man will think that, no, man, this is disrespect. I mean, no, this is below the belt. This is disrespect. I mean, I had a friend a long time ago. That guy, you know, Mpamahe was just around the corner. If things are not right with a woman, get some like Mpamahe ne fufa quite easily. You see, but that is not how we must resolve conflict. We are to be tough as men. That does not mean we do not have feelings. We do have feelings. We get hurt sometimes by the things that they say. But we need to be a pillar. You see, if a woman or if a lady yells at you, I mean, it's like a hosepipe which spits water at a much faster rate, and then it begins to hit everything everywhere. If there are glasses, they will break. If you know, and when I say man, you must get hold of that pipe and stabilize it. You see, you see, the thing is, women are created with feelings. Men are created, men are wired differently. And they have the strength, both physically and spiritually, to provide the strength to their wives and hold them. You see, until they come down. Hence this verse, God was saying, be mindful, know this. And I believe this verse needs to be read when people get married. No, these things are not read when people get married. Other verses are read, but this also apply in everyday life. You see, and that's why there is an expression which is, be a man, be a man. You see, being a man is you being able to be a pillar in the house. And if even if your wife can say some stuff, you know, disrespectful stuff, take it by the cheek. It's not easy. It's really not easy. But control the situation. Hold on. Provide strength. Stand. You see, stand and support. Because you are in a situation, you don't know where the situation come from. But it's there. You've got no answers. You're depending on God. So strengthen yourself with the word of God. Pray. Read the word. Feed your spirit. So that in times like this, you can provide strength when your wife is weak, like this verse is saying. Provide support. Stand so that your wife can come and lean on you. This is what the verse is saying. There is another verse. Let's go to it. I'm nearly finished. Colossians 3. I know some of you know exactly where I'm going to read. Colossians 3, verse 13. It says, verse 13, bear with each other. Bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave. Bear with one another. Bear with one another. Now it simply means that both of you can be weak in certain areas. In other words, when one of you is telling you about their weakness, don't bring it up in a fight the next time you fight. And this is a problem with men. Men will sometimes tell you something that exposes their weakness. And as a woman, in the event of your fight, don't bring that up. Because now you're making this man to begin to shut down. Next time everything is good. Hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And I'm fine. How was work? Work was good. Yeah, but the other day you told me that this and this happened. No, everything is fine. It's sorted. Why? The man is now shutting up because he's protecting himself against what you would do. You did it already. Attacked him in his weakness. And for the sake of peace, he is now going to hold back. And may never tell you what's going on, because no, if I had told you if I tell you stuff, you turn and use them against me. That is the general weakness of men. They love peace in a marriage so much that if something like that had happened, then they begin to they are not drawing back because they don't love you anymore. No, they still love you. It's just that they are now protecting themselves. You see, and the Bible says, bear with one another. If your wife attacked you with something, you must know that maybe she did that out of her weakness, and it must not prevent you from opening up. Next time you need to open up. You see. But now these are the things that will bring conflict. And these are the things that will eventually affect marriages. I mean, us as men, we also have our weak points. As women have their own weak areas, we also have our own weak areas. And it's also attached to our ego. And our ego is also another problem. You see, so we kind of need to meet one another halfway for this thing to work. God help us in all of our marriages as we begin to bear with one another and forgive one another. God help us as we begin to know that both men and women are weak in certain areas, and men and women need to begin to understand each other and embrace each other, so that this marriage thing will work. You see, one man of God was saying, marriage has 100% chance of survival if it's done God's way. Then if you resolve to do things God's way, then you have 100% chance of survival. But as soon as other ways come in, no, then the 100% will just fall away like that. May God help us to do it God's way. Amen. See you next time.